What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another album review roundup. I am Kane from Dusty, Oregon, and this week I've got 4 albums to go through. It has been a while since I've been up here talking about some music, and I do apologize. Hopefully you will forgive me. Thank you so much to all my new subscribers. Nice to meet all of you. Thanks for sticking around. And if you are new here, if this is your first time watching, don't forget to subscribe right now and be part of the fun Cool Kid Club, led by me. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you are into any of the albums that I go through this week. Every Friday, I try to go through as many albums as possible and talk about them and give them some sort of rating system. And hopefully you pick out some stuff that you really enjoy. That's the point of this all. Like I said before, it's been a while since I was on here. I think I've missed like the last 2 or 3 weeks maybe to do some proper reviews. April's been a really fantastic month for new releases. I'm not sure if any of you have been enjoying something specific. And if you are and you would like me to talk about it, let me know in the comments down below. I will do my best to get back to you on that. And I might even do like an individual album review rather than, these little roundups that I've been doing recently. So that's always an idea as well. So let me know in the comments if you're down for that. If you want to follow me on any other channels, all of that stuff is in the description. I'm going to save you my usual rant and lecture. So let's just get into these album reviews, shall we? So first up is Pusha T's new album, It's Almost Dry. Now Pusha T's name is on the album, but this is pretty much a Pharrell Williams release, or at least a co-release of some sort, because he co-produced at least, I think it was 7 out of the 12 tracks. And plus there's also some strong incorporation from Kanye West and Kid Cudi. So this is really a solid collaborative effort from mainstay legendary names in the industry right now, which is great. And it's a really great album because of that. We get a lot of Pharrell Williams iconic production styles mixed with more gospel and experimental style of Kanye West on there as well too. There's a whole bunch of interesting choices made from both of them on the album. And of course, Pusha T's a veteran in the game, so he knows how to write bars and deliver it expertly. The only thing is, not to sound like a narc or anything like that, but he's still kind of just rapping about drugs and the whole game of it all. So in terms of the substance of it, is he still like hustling crack? I don't know. The other thing too is a lot of the Kanye features, a lot of his bars as well is about his crumbling family and his divorce and everything. So it's pretty, heavy in a sense, but it's also kind of satirical at this point because I don't really think Pusha's still dealing drugs, is he? At this point of his life in his career? I don't know. He's just kind of playing to his audience, I think, and they know that. He knows that. But the wonderful thing about It's Almost Dry is it really is a production showcase. Like Pharrell, Kanye, even Kid Cudi, Jay-Z's in there helps out a bit too. Like it was just a really phenomenal hip hop release at the bare bones of it all, and that's what I really, really enjoyed about this record. The lyrical stuff was just kind of nonsense to me. But at the same time, Pusha T and his team, they're all superstars, so my expectations are higher than the average album. I expect a lot of great things from this type of release. But at the end of the day, It's Almost Dry is really a production showcase. You got some phenomenal studio work from some of hip-hop's greatest of our generation, and it shows on the back end of it. Like I said, lyrically and substantially, like it doesn't really, offer much to push the genre in any new direction or, make any sort of really strong statements. It's just kind of stuff you want to almost just party to. But at the same time, getting all those people to work on one project together is pretty exciting, and it adds to the hype a little bit, I'll admit. This might end up on some people's end of the year lists. It is a really good record, but I personally don't know if it's going to be on my end of the year list. So I'm going to give It's Almost Dry a 7.5 out of 10. Moving on to something still within the same breath, another hip-hop album is Redveil's new release, Learn to Swim. It's his 3rd album, and believe it or not, he just celebrated his 18th birthday when he came out on Wednesday. That is amazing. That is incredible. It's not very often you get to hear an 18-year-old be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to release an amazing record on my birthday for my 18th birthday. Marcus Morton, real name, is very understanding of the way to use flow and diction, especially on this release. He's got a wonderful rhythm and articulation to him, and adding that in with the nice solid jazz samples and all of that stuff, and it's just an incredible record. I was really, really impressed with this. It comes across way beyond his years, and he even knows that. At some of the interviews, he's saying how, people talk about how he's so young and stuff like that, but he just knows intrinsically that this is just a solid, really, really good album, regardless of age. And it's nice too because he's very self-aware at the same time. Like Learning to Swim, the title itself is kind of a nod at the idea of leaping into adulthood and becoming a man. A lot of his songs are about that sort of stuff, and the production on it is incredible. I know he has a really strong part of it all too. He's been making beats in his bedroom since he was 11. This whole record is just so beyond its years, and I think it's one of those albums that we're going to be talking about for years to come. He's following a very similar trajectory like to J. Cole and Chance the Rapper, and even Kendrick Lamar in a sense too, like a young rapper coming up really quick. I think this record from Redveil is going to put him on the map, a much bigger audience. and it's very well deserving. This is a really great collection. I've listened to it at least 4 or 5 times now, and I'm going to listen to it a lot more. This will certainly be on my end of the year list. I'm going to give this one an 8.5 out of 10. Next up, we've got Scottish punk rock group Cold Years and their new sophomore album, Goodbye to Misery. Now, I haven't talked about the sophomore slump very much on this channel yet. Since I've started doing reviews, I haven't really met a sophomore album that I've been really disappointed with. And that is still not the case with this one. I tricked you. This is still a really great record. Now, is it going to win any awards or make any top end of the year lists? I highly doubt it unless you're in a very niche pocket of the internet. But if you are really into sturdy punk, alternative rock hooks and these massive arena style vocals, especially from bands from the 2010s like Rise Against, Gaslight Anthem, and Frank Turner's discography as well, then you are going to love this album. And Cold Years were inspired by a change of perspective for this release, with the group literally saying goodbye to misery internally and externally. They were just done with being sad about things, and they just wanted to make a record that was hopeful and meaningful and positive. And with that in mind, considering how electric and energizing this 12-track release is, it's a wonderful combination. And I'm not exaggerating when I say all 12 tracks are just on a high level of pace. Like there's no slowing down, there's no ballads or anything. This is 12 tracks that just go, 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 go. And they're all built on this foundation of hopefulness and resilience, and you can really, really feel that in the instrumentation and in the vocals and in the lyricism, of course, too. The whole album is just brimming with this unwavering energy level, and the hooks are big, the riffs are solid, the vocals are anthemic. It is really a very powerful and invigorating release. And it just steamrolls over for 40 minutes. Just you start and you go, and before you know it, you're at the end of the tunnel and you've just been running the whole time. It's a really fun listen in that regard, too. There's a matter of almost being too consistent on this record. A lot of the tracks do kind of sound the same. There's even 2 with the word goodbye in the title. So just like stuff like that, it does start to feel a bit copy and paste when you kind of figured out the formula for it. But at the same time, it feels good. It is a really, like I said, it's a really energizing record. I think that's a really strong description of this record. So for Cold Years and their new album, Goodbye to Misery, I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. Léonie Gray has released her long-awaited debut album, Who? ? And some of you may be asking that question yourself. Who is Léonie Gray? But if you are asking that question, you have not been keeping a close eye on my curation, and that is a problem that you must fix. Get better. Nevertheless, Léonie Gray is a Montreal-based singer-songwriter who blends wonderfully R&B, jazz, soul, bit of chamber pop, folk, indie rock, all of this into this really beautiful and soothing style. You can even compare her to some predecessors like Nina Simone, Julie London, Amy Winehouse. There's a very sultry and lounge sort of style in her vocal qualities. And on a more contemporary side of things, Yebba, Sarah Bareilles, Lily Allen, those types of really melting female lead vocalists. Léonie has this wonderful crisp croon style that's got a nice little sharp edge on some notes, and her timbre is just right against a very 70s inspired instrumentation. And on this debut album, she just has a lovely humble presence on it, which is very endearing as well. And apparently she wrote 20 songs for this release, or more than, and she's trimmed it down to a nice sophisticated 13 tracks. And that being said, it's very well balanced. There's some slow jams, some silky slow jams. There's also some nice energizing soul pop and jazz. And it starts to give you this sense of her versatility as a vocalist, because like I said, there's elements of folk, jazz, R&B, rock, pop. All these little sensibilities kind of come together with her vocal tones. She even boasts her bilingualism with a beautiful French ballad at the end on track Parachute. It almost feels like a way to close this chapter and start to lead into the future as well. Maybe, not to get ahead of myself or anything. One prediction I will get ahead of is I don't think Canadian music fans are going to be asking the question who about Léonie Gray very long. I think this is a tremendous debut album that's certainly going to put her on more people's radars. I hope this has already worked for her. I'm going to give Léonie Gray's album Who a solid and well-deserved 7.5 out of 10. And of course, as usual, I like to give some extra recommendations for you if you don't mind. So this weekend on April 22nd, we got new music from King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Their 20th album. I've lost count. Omnium, Gatherum. It's a long one. I have yet to crack into it, but I know it's going to be good. Samantha Savage Smith, her new album Fake Nice, is a really nice singer-songwriter if you like more of a sort of indie pop from a solo artist from Alberta. Patrick Watson's new EP, Better in the Shade, is a beautiful, classically driven singer-songwriter record. It's beautiful. Another fantastic up-and-coming Canadian artist, Georgia Harmer, who is related to Sarah Harmer, if you know her as well. She's her niece, actually. Her new album, Stay in Touch, is a wonderful, wonderful collection. I did want to review that one, but the weekend went by pretty quick. And a lot of people, too, are talking about the return of Spiritualized. Everything Was Beautiful. That one is a bit more on the, well, I want to say like post-rock sort of side of things, very experimental. I think some people will enjoy that one too. So go take a listen to all of those albums. And if you want a full complete list of upcoming album releases that you should have on your radar, subscribe to my Patreon, because I have a document that is exclusively for Patreon members that has all of the upcoming records that I have on my radar. It is very full. There's a lot of stuff on there, so you are not going to miss out on some of the best releases. So make sure you subscribe to that. It's only $4 a month, and it goes a long way, and I appreciate it very much. The link is in the description. All right, well, that's it. Thanks so much for sticking around for my album reviews. I hope you found something you love this week from one of those 4 albums, and maybe one of the bonus ones too. Stay tuned for next Friday when I go through another crazy week next week. There's a lot of great albums coming out next week, including Action Bronson, Toro y Moi, Saint Arnaud, Scalping, Memorial, and there's somebody else too I'm missing. I can't even remember. There's just a ton of great albums coming out next Friday, so stay tuned for that. If you liked anything, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys all very soon. And of course, let me know if there's any upcoming records that you really, really want me to review. I will be happy to talk about them and take a listen as well. I'm always happy to hear recommendations. Anyway, so thanks very much again for tuning in and listening and watching all this whole video, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Peace.